tell me, I know he was very well known in the community, but for those who didn't know him, how would you describe him?
Due to the fact that he was a homeless man, he was also a friend to a lot of people in the community. And when I met him 15 years ago, I only had 2 kids at the time. And my kids would see him sitting in stores and just in parking lots and stuff, and they would always say, give him $1, give him $1. We would just give him money. He never had his hands out for nobody. Like, he never asked the community. I would never see him beg for anything. And like, we just like put him under our wing like another person, like family, and he was a very, 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 very sweet man, very sweet man. And I would talk to him sometimes, and it was conversations like, he sees people doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and he's like, I'm glad that I'm not like that. He was really a good person, and for his life to get taken so soon like it did, it's not fair. But I'm happy that even though justice hasn't been served, that the community didn't give up on Juan, because Juan really deserved more than what he got, and Mariano getting him a headstone and being able to bury now the dog with him, that really means a lot to a lot of people.
Now, I know his family, some of them are in another country, but here it's like he had so much family, even if they weren't blood.
Yes, ma'am. So, because all we know of is his son, and well, he met his son, Mariano did. I never met his son, and I never knew he had a son until when he passed away. So yeah, mainly the family was the community.
So what has it been like for the community in this past, year plus, not having him around and seeing him?
Well, for me, because 5 years ago, I started feeding the homeless because of him, because we lived like directly down the road. Like, I lived on Dade and he lived across the street on Dade in a homeless camp. So I started feeding the homeless over there because there was like 7 or 8 people there for 4 years straight. And when he passed away, it like didn't give me the how do I say it, to keep doing it, so I just stopped doing it. And a lot of people told me it's not fair, because I didn't ask nobody for nothing. I just did it because I loved Mr. Juan, and I know even though they didn't eat some days, at least Thanksgiving and Christmas they had a meal, and my kids loved to do it. So now when my kids and us ride by there, we're like, no more tradition of cooking for the homeless. And I'm like, maybe mommy will start back one day, but right now I don't want to do it, it doesn't give me I don't know how to put the word right.
I guess it's just hard going there and not seeing him there,
It is. I say let everybody else that does that for the community continue doing it, but I was trying to keep it a tradition, but because he was in the picture.
And how meaningful was it for you to see, people come out here after such a long time, still, try to keep his memory alive?
It means a lot. It means a lot, because you didn't just look at him like some homeless person. I'm sure everybody thought of him as family, and that they didn't give up on him right away, even though sort of justice hasn't really been served. They still came out here and did this for him.
Yeah, and that's my follow-up question. 2 of the people who were involved are out. Another one is, still in
jail. And somebody said that one is back in there for probation violation or something.
Yeah, so those 2 were out on probation, but
if they did have something to do with it, how they could get out like that is beyond me. But I guess that's for the justice to figure that out. I'm not nobody to judge anybody, so I'm just glad he's now resting with his best friend, and we can now move forward, because I know it's hard for Mariano, because Mariano wanted everything for him, like justice, everything,
And my last question for you, especially in the last year, we've seen the amount of homeless in Southwest Florida kind of growing. But, you even said it here, he was like a family member almost to you and to the community. What message would you send out to people about maybe a misconception they have about homeless and, kind of people they are?
Well, I hang around some people sometimes that be like, I'm going to go give this guy $1, $2, because to me it's a blessing, because then something good happens for me, and that's just a blessing. And don't always judge a book by its cover. Just because they're sitting there having a beer, there's a reason maybe behind all that. They could, because they're homeless, because they have family problems. Nobody never knows what anybody goes through unless they're walking their shoes. So if you can, always try to help somebody that you see like that, because you honestly never know. And I've ran into a couple of them, especially women, that are drinking on the side of the building, and then they start talking about, they just lost their marriage, they lost their kids, and it's depressing, it's depressing for a lot of people. You know, just don't look at people like that, like, oh, they're homeless. No, it's, you know, think about what's going on in their life and why they're like that.
Anything else I didn't ask you want to mention about, you know, Juan Diego? And
No, just that he's going to be very missed by a lot of us.
if you could tell him one thing, one last thing, what would it be?
Here goes some cans, you know, here goes a couple dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, he was well known for collecting them, huh?
Honestly, the last word I could say, because I kept thinking about it when this happened to him, I always for 2 years said to my kids, to my family, that I'm going to tell Mr. Diego will he come live at my house, just because I just didn't want to see him out there, and he was such a good person. And I never could get that courage, because people would say, even if you ask him, he's going to tell you no, he's happy where he's at. And I was like, what if he just lives in my Yukon that was parked at my house for like 3 years, nobody was living? That would be safer, you know, and I would think better stuff instead of one day something's going to happen to him like it did, you know. And I wish too, I would have told him, can you come stay at my house, you know, but I didn't say it, so.
Everything happens for a reason,
Yes,
though. And I
ma'am.
mean, in a community like this where so many really cared about him, I think no one ever expected that
Yes, ma'am.
something like that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for speaking with
Thank
me.
you,
Are you
hon.
going to be at the...
Yes, we're
Okay.
going over there for a
I
few
will
minutes,
see
yes,
you
ma'am.
there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Alrighty.
You want me to still stay here? Where's Miss
Well, Susan's talking.
Oh,
Okay.
Susan's talking. Sure. I know Susan.
From Animal Control, right? The kitty cat. Remember my cat?
She knows my stepdad. Well, wait a minute. I'm going to put my mask back on and everything then. Yeah, Miss Susan knows my stepdad real well.
Mariano, allá voy a estar. ¿Hay gente allá ahorita? ¿Hay gente allá ahorita?
Sí, sí, allá hay gente, creo.
Okay.
Here.
Ok, váyase allá.
I'm really bad about this graveyard thing.
¿Quién sabe de quién es? ¿Es de ella a lo mejor?
There you go. Same thing, just look at me. It's not live, so feel free to restart any of your responses. Sorry, I'm going to stand right here. Yeah, thank you. If you could tell me your first and last name.
I'm Susan Brodowski,
Can you spell your last name?
Brodowsky.
Bueno.
Perfect.
Kathy Coons.
Can you spell
Bueno.
your last name as well?
COOMBES.
And so both of you had Cheto for a
Estoy
little
aquí
bit,
escuchando la entrevista.
I had him for a little bit.
Estoy escuchando
Pam
la
had
entrevista,
him
no que
for
querían entrevista.
over a year, but
Que
she's
querían
not
entrevista, dijeron.
able to talk.
And how long, okay, so you guys, you know, the incident happens, how long after did you guys
Estoy
kind of-
aquí escuchando la entrevista.
Pam took him home the next day, 2 days later.
After Mr. Juan passed away,
Bye.
she adopted him from DeSoto County Animal Services.
And I mean, you guys kind of, you know, had your interactions with Cheto. What was it like for him, you know, kind of just seeing his interactions with other people after, you know, Juan Diego passed?
It was hard. They gave us permission to take him to hospice to say goodbye to Juan, and that was touching.
Would you guys say, you know, that Cheto definitely knew that Juan
Yes.
Diego was no longer
Yes.
there? And so you guys kept him for this year plus, and now he unfortunately passed away.
Yes.
And having him buried here today next to his owner, you know, who he was with up and down the street for so long, you know, how does that make you guys feel?
I'm glad that we were able to put them together.
Why do you think it's
Where they need to
meaningful?
be. I mean, they need to be back together.
They were always together. You never saw
One without the other.
Cheeto. They were always together.
It was almost like they were an icon, right? Like just them two together. And tell us, you know, what was Cheto kind of like for those that, you know, didn't really know him like you guys did?
He was extremely smart. He was a very smart dog.
And just sweet. I
Yeah.
mean, he loved other animals, cats, dogs, everybody. He loved everyone. That dog was sweet. He was a good dog.
And now it's just like, you know, both the owner and him get to be together again after so long, huh?
Yes.
And I know, because I know a lot of people
Bittersweet.
were asking about him. Bittersweet, you say? Yeah, because you guys built a relationship with him, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Pam, she's taking it pretty bad. Like she had him for, she said 18 months
That's a
of
long
it.
time.
So
Yeah, especially with dogs that you feel that, you know, relationship and bond that you're always with them. Now my last question, you know, for you guys were maybe didn't know Juan Diego or know him as well as, you know, who I just spoke to. But to those that did this and kind of, you know, for example, left Cheto without his family member, what would you say?
I can't really comment on that. Yeah, it'd probably be best.
Anything else you guys want to comment about, you know, Cheto and just being able to do this for him today? And
I'm just glad they're back together.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Algo.
Huh?
¿Qué pasó?